Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my world with Nat, Relocation Concierge, coming live from our villa with the wonderful Amanda Bucci. It's Bucci, right?
Yeah, it's Bucci.
Excellent. And Amanda has such a great story, and I had to share it with my viewers because there's a lot of you that are choosing to relocate, whether it be short-term or long-term. And the insight from people who have been here for a while is really valuable. So thanks for taking the time to be here.
Thanks for inviting me.
So let's go back a few years.
Okay, yeah, just a couple. So I originally am from California, but I arrived here just after 9/11, a couple months after 9/11.
Okay.
Some of your viewers may have been in diapers at that time. But I arrived after 9/11, and I was a Peace Corps volunteer here in Puerto Plata in the city. And I volunteered specifically in the special education school. My Peace Corps stint was 2.5 years, including my training. And before I was going to take my next step, which was I was going to get my master's in California, I met my, who continues to be my husband today.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what, maybe I'll defer that for a year or 20. And so we ended up staying here, and I invested. We both had a little bit of money. I had some investment from my Peace Corps experience, and we purchased the property that we actually live on today. So
and back
for
then
a really great deal,
incredibly I think it's a great perspective.
Small amount of money. So with $3,500, we bought the property that we.
And what was it? $1.50?
It was $1.50 a square meter. So yeah, and I can't believe at that time
like
I was so wise to have purchased that. Granted, it was extremely rural. I mean, it still is, but it was even more back then.
Yeah.
So it was a really great investment for my family, and we spent then 7 years living in Puerto Rico, and then our daughter was born there, and then we came back, and we lived in a tent on our property. We were determined to live on our land. So my husband built a platform.
I bet it wasn't glamping, was it?
It was not glamping. It was camping. No glamping about that. So my husband built a platform. We had a tent. We brought all of our belongings and ourselves over on the ferry. That's how we arrived back into this country. And we were determined to build our lives here. We had purchased this property, left for 7 years, and we're determined to come back. So we slowly started building the house. We built it with we have a very, our vision and continues to be was very sustainable minded. So we wanted to build it with local materials, connect with our local people around us. And so we slowly did that and planted 30 fruit trees that are now bearing fruits. And
I feel like I need to come and visit.
It's a really sweet place. We're in the process actually of selling it right now. But it has been a really, kind of gave us that security of like, hey, we can do anything if we can build our own home.
And I think that's kind of to the point of, yes, you can rent, yes, you can buy when you come here, but building is a great option.
It is a great option.
And there's so many spots like in the mountains. There is land that's available.
And there's land that's still available that's not over exaggerated and expensive. Obviously it depends on what you're looking for, but we just put our heart and soul into this property, and it's really become a beautiful little oasis.
Stunning. Yeah. So we can't wait to hear about your next chapter.
Sure.
But I'm assuming that, along the way there are things that you've tools that you've put into your belt about living in the DR. Obviously not the same as being in California.
Yeah, not at all.
So what are some of the things for you? Maybe 20 years ago, it's far to go back, but what are some of the things that you find still maybe are a little challenging, or people find challenging when they arrive? Because that piece is really important to know.
Right. I mean, I personally find California a little bit more challenging now, just because I love going there to visit my family and friends, obviously.
Of course.
But it's such a completely different system in how things are set up.
Yes.
And I've adapted so much here that I feel like a fish out of water when I'm there. But, here, there's going to be things that if you decide to relocate in this country, you're going to find so many amazing benefits and so many different levels. And at the same time, you're going to find things that may frustrate you. Things that take a little bit longer here. The process of, if you're going to purchase something and you're going to build, getting permits, When we purchased our house, we didn't need permits at that time, so I'm sure it's
things have changed. Yeah, things have changed.
But I mean, it's more bureaucratic system, and a bureaucratic system that if you don't know how to manage it, you're going to need support in that area.
Yeah.
Obviously, language is a big
Yes.
component. I mean, obviously at this point I'm totally bilingual, but that's, that took time. And even if you don't come in and you're not Spanish speaker from the get-go, there are things that I think that people can do to better understand and acclimate and really connect with local people. The reason that I love this country, besides all of the beauty that it has, are the amazing, beautiful people.
Yes.
Dominican people are wonderful. They're totally open. They're forgiving in lots of ways. If you come and you don't speak the language right away, there are other ways to communicate.
100%.
But connecting with the community may frustrate you at times in terms of like how slow paced things are in lots of ways. Dominican time, but embrace it, because that should be one of the reasons that you came here, right?
But I find it's almost counterintuitive, because there's Dominican time, but then when you're driving, everybody's in such a rush, and I think
it took me years. I'm talking years to drive here. Because I would have my little moto that I drive down on the hill for a while, and then when we actually were able to purchase a vehicle, my husband was the one that drove every time, and then now I drive by myself and I'm totally fine. But you're right, Dominican roads are the source of the biggest fatalities in the Dominican Republic. By far. So, you have to get used to managing in situations that are going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, but that's where the growth is. Feeling uncomfortable, arriving here and only connecting with, community members from your home country is not necessarily the way to really feel that adventurous spirit and that spirit that probably brought you here. Yeah. So it's really important, I think, as someone I've worked in nonprofit world in the Dominican Republic for many, many years, for 10 years. And so I think it's really important that you at any form that you can, to really try to connect with local people. Whether it's buying at the local colmado or connecting with whoever you can.
I think making the basics. Like when I traveled and we were in different countries, I used to provide to the crew members like your basics, your hello, your goodbye, your thank you, your welcome.
Exactly.
Those are just basic kind of human words to know, because they automatically make you connect.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad to hear that, to give myself time, because it's been a year and I feel like I should know more Spanish, and I do know more. Mm-hmm. I think I would like to be able to converse more,
because when you can connect with people in that way, even if it's like with your rudimentary vocabulary, but you can get around and try to connect with people, all of a sudden your experience is so much richer and greater. Because this country is obviously beautiful, but it's the people that have kept me here for so many years.
So the people are definitely one of the highlights. What are some of the other things that people should be aware of, or
in terms of
like just experiences?
Really explore the country a lot. This is an incredibly diverse, ecologically diverse place. The Southwest is my personal favorite part of the country, and the Southwest is a desert, cactus. I grew up in the desert, so I have a soft spot in my heart for the desert, but cactus, and then it's right up bordering against crystal blue Caribbean Sea. Landscapes that are incredibly beautiful. You go to Jarabacoa or Constanza, where there's pine trees and it's actually fresh and cool. Yeah. And beautiful rivers.
I'm not ready to go fresh and cool yet. I just left it fresh and cool. I want hot. Exactly. Yeah. Even in January, I was a bit sheepish telling people, like, are you wearing a sweater? And I'm like, why? Well, it's only 20 this morning. What?
Right.
It's minus 20 back home.
I know. But you start to acclimate your body in it and you feel cold,
Yeah, you feel cold. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, but I think exploring the country, because it gives you a better perspective. The North Coast is beautiful, and this is the place that I always want to live, I think, in this country. But I also know that I want to live here because I've seen a big portion. And I know it's a total privilege to be able to travel around the country, but if you have an opportunity, that's where I invest a lot of my money and time and energy, is really showing our daughter what a beautiful place this truly is. And that's when you connect with these people on a deeper level too. And you know, the campesinos up in Jarabacoa, or the you know, the beach community in Samaná is beautiful. I mean, there's just, it's unbelievable the natural beauty that this
there's so many different areas. And and I think that coming down and choosing this adventure, you know, you're automatically choosing to explore, you know, and even just, I mean, there's so much to explore here on the North Coast. I think in the last year, I don't know that we've even seen as much as we could have seen. And part of it was for us, I think, that we knew we were settling here for a bit, and that was like the priority, and the traveling part has just come sort of naturally. And I don't want to say if you see one beach, you've seen them all, because I think every beach has something special. Like,
definitely.
You know, from the North Coast to Las Terrenas to Samaná to all those places, they're all different. Punta Cana. All very different, but all very beautiful in their own ways. So somebody's landing, they're coming down. What is like your top tip? What is it? We said language and the people. Embrace those two things.
Yeah, embrace those two things. One thing that, and I think I'm going to go back a little bit. But one thing that I think may be shocking for people is the amount of trash that they may see around.
Oh my gosh, great point.
Yeah, and I want people to get a different perspective on that. And I think it's really important to know that although, yes, it is heartbreaking at some points to see how much trash, we have to realize that in Canada and in the United States and more developed countries, they are producing far more trash per person, per capita, than they are in the Dominican Republic. The problem is the waste management issue here. So
it is shocking.
Education, waste management. So, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to support in those areas with nonprofits and other things in the community. But I just think it's really, you know, instead of being judgmental of it, understand where it's, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe even more than, obviously more than that, 40 years ago, when people had things here, they'd buy them in the colmado, which is like the local corner store. They would buy things and everything was biodegradable. Just nothing came in plastic. So all these big corporations that are sending stuff down, you know, there's a lot of plastic that's being produced and being wasted and being thrown out on the side of the road. And the educational component. In the United States, we used to have a hoot, don't pollute. There was a whole campaign when I was a child for years. And it really stuck. Well, that hasn't happened here. We're still in the process.
And it is, I have to say, it was probably one of the most shocking things that we noticed when we first came down, especially our daughter, who I left a school that, you know, recycling and you know.
Well, Isla's like that too, though.
Yes, like they really made sure they even asked us not to send wrappers to school, to really bring the waste down for the school. So when we got here, she was the first to say, "Mommy, there's so much garbage. Mommy, why is there garbage on the side of the road?" And I didn't really have the answer for her besides maybe we just don't know any different and this is what they do. And it wasn't an excuse, but I'm glad that you brought it up because it is a big one.
Education, but it's a big shock for a lot of people. And then also to not contribute to that, not to come here with those same ideals that you have in your home country. Like I always shop with a recyclable bag in the States, but then I come here and all of a sudden you don't do that. I mean, that's so really. That
was the first thing when I asked really somebody. I asked somebody to bring it to me because when we first arrived a year ago, the grocery stores didn't quite have they didn't have the bags yet. And then they showed up maybe 2-3 months after we'd arrived, and I was so excited. Because I hated using the plastic bags.
Because you're accustomed in wherever you're from, so it's nice to just. And then also, you know, again, non-judgmental, but support the community. I think there's a big cleanup this weekend, and you know, when you go to the beach, I always try to take as many things as I can around me, and just try to be part of the solution and model the best kind of behavior that we can.
So you're coming down. Please make sure that if you are deciding to relocate and you would like some assistance, whether it be with a rental or a purchase or maybe even viewing land, reach out, book a free call with me so we can set that up for you, find out how we can make this seamless. the least amount of heartache.
Exactly.
Make it fun and exciting and adventurous. And thank you for being here
Sure,
today.
it's a wonderful country and a wonderful place. So I hope all of you, if you do come, you enjoy it as much as I have.
Absolutely. Whatever you choose to do today, have an incredible day. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.